And we're back. Mike Cernovich, DangerandPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. How you doing? Word has it there is a Trump press conference going on, but I'm not really watching it. Because I don't really care. Don't really care. Just not interested. So what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Let me get to the point real quick. So social media platforms, a lot of people ask me questions about platforms. So I thought that I would show you some pretty cool data. I'm going to write this up, of course, at DangerandPlay.com. But what a lot of people don't realize in This Is Life is that life is about high handsome things. Mike, you're going up against Trump's press conference. I don't care. I don't watch his press conferences anymore. But if you guys want to watch the Trump press conference, go ahead and we'll watch this again. I'm going to write the data up again, but a lot of people have questions about starting off at Twitter, social media, book writing, everything you want to talk about. And what people got to understand is that platform gains are like compounded interest. Compounded interest has been known as the eighth wonder of the world. Because when you understand it, you can't understand. When you understand it fully and you see what happens, you're kind of in awe. I'll give you an example. The Joe Rogan Crowder thing, wow. I don't want to get too much into gossip and drama. But did you watch the Joe Rogan Crowder thing on pot? Man, Joe does not. If you talk trash on pot, big mistake. Big mistake. Joe is definitely does not want to hear it. Does not want to hear it. So anyway, I'm going to show you compounded interest in action. I'm building up my YouTube. I have around 18,000 subscribers. My YouTube right now is honest. It's just trash. I don't care. I'm building it up. But my YouTube is not impressive, right? Not impressive. I'm doing 3,000 to 5,000 views per video. Not impressive. Nothing cool about it. I do more. I could tweet this. I could tweet this on Twitter. And in 30 seconds, I would have more views than YouTube. But I'm building up my YouTube. It's going to take me at least 3 years. So here's what I was illustrating by compound gains. So if you go on Social Blade, you can see that in the past 30 days, I picked up 17,000 Twitter followers. My YouTube, I picked up 1,000 subscribers. Right? Yesterday, I gained 30 new subscribers. The day before that, 30. The day before that, 20. Meanwhile, on Twitter, 500, 900, 1,600, 600, 500, right? Well, it's no big deal. That's just the law of compound gains, the law of compound returns. Just like if you have $100 and you put $100 in the market, that's why in Gorilla Mindset I write about personal finances, actually. If you only have $1,000 to invest, people go, oh my God, I only have $1,000. How should I invest it? Just invest it, because that money is going to compound over 50 years. Maybe 100 years if you have a trust fund for your kid, maybe 200, 300 years legacy money. The same is true of social media. Social media is compounding gains. And that's why Twitter is actually engaging in folly by censoring the users. Here's what I mean. I don't tweet as much as I used to. I tweeted 1,000 times in the past 28 days. There have been months where I've tweeted 3,000 times. Month before last, I tweeted, what did I tweet? 2,000 times. So I'm tweeting half as much. Why? Because Twitter's been throttling people. They've been banning people. When you invest in a social media platform for years, and they ban you, it's catastrophic. And I have Gab, and I'm doing a little bit more with Gab. But if I invest more time in Gab, and Gab goes out of business in a year, that's another platform. So I have to build up my YouTube, my Facebook, my blogs, my books, everything. Social media gains. And that's where Twitter is making the mistake. My Twitter, when I'm really in the zone, I pick up 1,000 followers a day. When I'm really committed to Twitter, I do 1,000 followers a day. So it's funny, hitting 10,000 to me was a bigger deal than hitting 210,000. Because it's hard to hit 10,000. If you hit 10,000 Twitter followers, congratulations. 10,000 Twitter followers is massive. You give yourself a thumbs up, tell yourself you're great. It's hard to get 10,000 followers. Once you get, it's easier to go from 10,000 to 100,000 than it is to go from 1,000 to 10,000. So even those are only 10x. It's easier if you have 10,000 followers, you will get to 100,000 followers quicker than if you have 1,000 followers. Then you'll get to 10,000 followers. That's just the nature of the game. It's like that for any kind of platform. Blog traffic, YouTube, social media. Yeah, Jack unfollows people, but the bigger point is if you're building your own platform, you're going to go from 0 to 1 for, I don't know, a year. You're not going to have anybody. People start a blog and like, man, nobody's reading my blog, nobody's watching my YouTube, nobody's listening to my podcast gets more views than YouTube. So my podcast, each podcast I do, I get way more listens than my YouTube because I built the podcast platform up, right? So if you're starting something new online, whether it's a social media, a YouTube, a blog, whether you're writing books, you're going to have nothing unless you catch a real lucky break. Unless you get very lucky. I'm talking 1 in 1,000 luck. So don't ever plan your life around a 1 in 1,000 probability event. Lucky doesn't mean you have a 1%. Lucky means it's more like 1% of 1%. If you're getting started for 3 years, don't expect it to be anything. Don't expect to have any kind of meaningful, significant platform for 3 years. Now, you might be a year and a half. There are ways that you can improve it. Realistically, your first year, don't expect much of anything at all. Your first 3 years, don't expect to make any money. But what happens is that once you cross that and that's why I tell people you should really think twice before going into this line of work. Imagine I told you, hey, come work at a job for 3 years and you're going to make less than minimum wage for 3 years. But after that 3 years, then you might really make a lot of money, right? Then you might really hit it big after that 3 years. Then you might, right? Who would take that job? Who would take that job? Nobody. But then everybody wants to be a YouTube celebrity because they say PewDiePie making millions a year, right? I'm a big guy and I'm not making millions a year yet. Within 3 years, I'll be making millions of dollars a year. No question about it. But I've been doing stuff online for 15 years maybe. By the time I'm making millions of dollars consistently a year, I'll have been doing blogging or podcasting or video stuff or Twitter stuff 20 years. Now, granted, I wasn't doing it full time the whole way. I used to only blog for a couple hours a day or whatever. But as a hobby, it was a hobby for years, maybe a decade, before it became a profession. So if you really want to make money doing this kind of stuff, then you better realize, and I work really hard too. If I worked this hard at another job, then I'd be making millions a year, right? I'd definitely be making millions a year. But the thing is that most people who go online, but they don't want to tell you, because here's the thing, it's the success storyline. I have to tell you, man, I am just a bad, Cyrus in the room, I am just the thing, man, I'm the best in the world. Start a YouTube, start a podcast, be the greatest in the world like me, I'm great. The truth is, 99% of people like me who work online aren't cut out to work a real job. That's the reality. That's what nobody will tell you. I could use guerrilla mindset to do it, but I'd be miserable. I'm not the guy who could work a real job where you go into a corporation. Hey, how you doing? Let's play office politics. Oh yeah, let's go have lunch. I'm going to pretend to be interested in what you're having to say. This is great. I'll keep a regular schedule. I am not that guy. I'm not that guy at all. And 99% of people online aren't that guy. That's why you find the internet, because you think, oh wait, I can kind of do whatever I want. And if I work hard enough at it, then eventually I can make a living. That's the reality, but people don't want to tell you that. They want to sell you on this illusion that they are just better than everyone else. When the truth is that in a lot of ways, you're wired differently than other people in a way that maybe necessarily isn't good. So you got to realize that if you recognize that investing, and I'm going to read some of your comments, you got to understand if you're investing in the market, you're not going to double or triple your market returns in a year. But people think that with social media. They think you should double your follower count in a year. Or that you should have, everybody thinks they should have 10,000 Twitter followers. Everybody's like, and then people retweet me nonstop, and I end up blocking people on Twitter because they abuse it. They abuse the relationship. Very common, actually, amongst people to abuse the boundaries. So here, I'm going to take some of your questions. Yeah, I work hard at what I do. Exactly. I work hard at what I do. So, hey, if you want to make it on the internet, work really hard for years, and you won't make any money while you're working hard at it. So you're going to have to work another job. Contrary to popular belief, I did work as a lawyer, and then I worked on the internet stuff as a side thing. I worked as a lawyer, and then the internet stuff I did on the side. Until eventually the internet stuff was good enough that I could make it, right? Best jobs to work while doing YouTube, whatever job you can get, man. Whatever job you can get, buddy. YouTube ain't a job, though, I'll tell you that. YouTube is something that here's the way I look at it. Here's the way I look at it. Some people play golf, and this is what I always told people when I blogged. People go, Mike, why do you spend so much time blogging? You spend hours a week blogging. Why do you... Okay. I'm blocking people who are saying Trump is giving a press conference. Go watch Trump's press conference. I don't care. You're blocked. We know Trump is giving a press conference. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about online business stuff because people need honest information, right? So, oh, hey, do you want to sit up by me? You want to sit up by me? So people would say, Mike, why do you spend so much time doing blogs and podcasts? And I would tell them, well, why do you play golf on the weekend? Why do you play tennis on the weekend? Why do you spend so much time on your hobby? Right? Because if you think about it that way, this is fun to me. Now, I wouldn't spend, even if I weren't making a living online as an author, even if I couldn't make money as an author, then I would still be doing online stuff, but I would spend much less time on it. I would do maybe a video every couple of weeks, and I would do a blog post, once a week, something like that. And that would be how you do it, right? But if you really enjoy this, if you really enjoy writing and doing Twitter and Facebook and videos, if you enjoy it so much that you would do it if you never made any money, then chances are you will be able to make a living eventually down the road, years down the road, eventually. But you're not going to at first because you have to make those platform gains to get the compound interest. You really have to invest in your platform. You have to invest in your talent. You have to keep plugging away again for years. Don't believe the hype. Don't listen to anybody telling you to quit your job. Oh, quit your job and start a YouTube. Quit your job and start a blog. Quit your job and start a podcast. No, work a job, whatever you can find. Wait tables. I actually would you want to do a job that doesn't leave you drained at the end of the day? So for me personally, I couldn't work at a T-Mobile kiosk or an AT&T kiosk at the mall selling people all day because it does take a lot of energy, spiritual energy to work. So I would do a job that wouldn't be drained, that wouldn't leave me drained. That when I got home, then I could still do. I'd probably be like a receptionist. To be honest, this isn't very alpha. But if I were a man and had to do it all over again, I would probably have not gone to college, read books, worked as a receptionist at a gym, because that's just, mindless work and you're checking people in at the gym. You meet hot chicks. You can meet hot chicks at the gym while you're working as a receptionist. You're not drained. You don't really care. And then you go home and you have energy, and then you do your real stuff that you care about. You do your reading and your writing and other things. That's probably the way I'd have done it. You wouldn't because you don't do a hard charging job and then expect to have, or UPS loader, well, it all depends on, so little Cyrus got hiccups. You don't want to do a job that leaves you really drained. You want to do a job that pays you enough money to pay your bills, and then you can work on your YouTube videos, your blogging, your podcasting, your social media, your Photoshop skills, your video editing, that you can do it after. So that's what I would do. Don't worry, it turned out for me okay, so I don't have any regrets. But if I were going to, because a lot of younger people ask me, a lot of young people ask me for advice and they want to do the online thing, and I go, well, get a real job that pays enough, and just know you're going to be broke. Just know you're going to be broke for 3 years, right? You're going to be broke. It's fine. You got to be, it's okay, especially if you're a young man. You're broke for 3 years. It's okay. Go to the gym. Lift weights. Doesn't cost that much to eat clean. So, but the big takeaway from this is that building a platform is a lot like building an investment portfolio. You want to build it, build and build, and keep adding to what you're building. And then as you do it, you're going to find your growth is going to be exponential eventually. I 10x'd my year last year. I went from like 10,000 followers to 100, like way over 100. Like I 10x'd. I had a 10x year. All my analytics went up 10 times last year. But that wouldn't have been possible the year before because, again, that's what compound growth looks like. And then now I can cruise and kind of live off the interest. If all I did was spend an hour or two a day on my stuff, then I would still be able to essentially live off the interest of the investments that I made in all my platforms. And that's pretty cool. It's really cool, actually. If all I do is write a book a year, I can live a very nice life just off of one book a year. That's not even hustling. That's not working full time. I could work 2 hours a year. I could work 2 hours a day and still like live the dream, live a great life. But I'm not working 2 hours a day. I'm working more because I'm launching more businesses, because in life you don't want to lose momentum. And you don't want to cool off your brand, because you can go cool. You can go like this and then fall off a cliff. So you don't ever want to get cool in life or pretend that it's over, because it really is never over. Those are my tips on platformings, right? Platforms. I'm going to do another Periscope on the news of the day and other things. But a lot of people come to me for honest advice on internet building, online branding, and it's very hard to get honest. It's hard to get honest answers from people because people don't want to tell you the truth. Nobody wants to say, hey, dude, I made nothing on this stuff for a long time. Everybody wants to be like, yeah, I knew from the beginning that it was going to be great, and I'm just amazing, right? That isn't the reality. The reality is that you're going to do nothing online. I always tell people, go watch the first Joe Rogan podcast or the first Mark Lobliner. You guys ever watch Mark Lobliner's fitness videos? So Mark Lobliner, here, I always tell people this all the time. I mean, if you just want to really illustrate it, go watch, it's too hard to pull up. Go to Mark Lobliner's channel. So Mark Lobliner has probably the best fitness channel on YouTube. He now has a massive supplement company that he owns. He's killing the game, right? Go watch his first YouTube video. It did like 2,000 views, and it's him in front of a green screen with a tank top. He looks kind of corny, and he's talking about packing chicken on the road. How do you eat when you're on the road? That's where he started 5 years ago. Now he's got a huge multi-million-dollar supplement company, because 5 years ago he just did a video on how do you pack chicken, how do you pack things being on the road. If you watch the first Joe Rogan podcast, it is Joe and some other guy in front of a computer, and they have like little heart things or some kind of like decorations or confetti floating through it as some kind of background. It looks really dumb, actually. 5 years ago, and they're smoking weed, and nobody really cared about it, didn't do anything, and now it's the biggest thing on the world, right? The biggest podcast probably out there. But 5 years ago, and nobody wants to talk about that, right? When you're a big deal, you don't want to talk about how when you started off, you didn't know what you were doing, and you're just figuring it out, and that nothing happened. The meeting of the mind. Oh yeah, I got a special announcement. Next Tuesday, I will be having a great conversation with someone that you all know. So next Tuesday, there will be a meeting of the minds. I will be having a great conversation with someone that you all know, and you're gonna enjoy it. I gotta be sharp for it. Been doing my cardio every day, making sure my brain is sharp, because I gotta be on point. That'll be fun. So we'll watch that. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Mike Cernovich, dangerandplay.com. Guerrilla mindset. I'm going to have another video on other things. This one is about building your own platform, though. Why you have to start and know that nothing is going to happen for a long time, and that's completely normal.